afternoon. My name is Valmarie Turner, and I am doing an interview with Roanoke Rambler.
Stepping directly for your first city manager job into a city dealing with the aftermath of Cal's exit and these zoning battles. Starting with, how has this experience in community development and housing shaped how you were coming into this top seat here a year and a half ago?
Well, I can tell you that I've been very fortunate to work in a lot of different areas with housing and community development being kind of my core and central for the last 30 plus years now. And I think all of that experience has prepared me for where I am now. I'm excited that when I'm in a room, it's not a room where I'm not well versed in what we're discussing about. Because of my experience, I think that we have a really, really good opportunity to really make some substantive changes here because of some of my past experience and the experience of the team. So it's not just me; it's the experience of the team as well.
It's pretty kind of breaking news or newsy during the last city council meeting. With that 4-3 majority vote, it seemed, I don't know if contentious is the correct word, but you pretty much let it be known that of the difficulties with the workload there. Can you expound upon that a little bit? Or?
Sure. So in terms of the 4-3 vote, from a staff perspective, we follow council direction. And so council direction says that we need to go back out and, do it again. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to do it to the best of our ability, and we're going to move forward. What I wanted council to understand is the impact of their vote. So they were clear. So I was clear that it is going to be an impact to staffing because of our staffing capacity at this moment. It will be very difficult, and I wanted them to understand that so I can manage expectations.
I imagine that is quite the workload with the city being sued on it a little bit as well. Very many concerned citizens making their points very well known. And you, of course, follow council's direction on it.
Absolutely.
And it helps to have a consistent direction on that, with this being the fourth vote. So that's, are we doing this or not, comes to mind. Whilst it kind of leads to it seems like the two opposing sides are not necessarily opposing, with the big elephant in the room being the lack of not only housing, but especially affordable housing. One side being the natural idea of, we have all these great properties, why can't we renovate them? And vacant lots as well. That's usually the argument against placing higher density apartments or townhomes into residential districts, whereas the other argument being that we need these zoning amendments for by right housing due to the fact that we have a housing shortage, and it's holding us back to have single family housing. Can you see a way with a full, we can go to the staffing, but with proper staffing, how to kind of get at both of those large large problems with the shortage? Can we do both? Do we have to really do either or?
So there are some opportunities. I mean, I have done infill development, and that's kind of what you're leading toward when we talk about housing that's either dilapidated, that we could potentially acquire. Those are purchase rehabs. We can buy them, rehab them, and potentially put a low-income family into those properties. We can acquire vacant lots and do infill development, but all of that requires resources. And so I know that if you've done any research on the city, you know that we're having some challenges now relative to our financing. So we have a lot of competing priorities, and I definitely think that we can get there. I definitely see opportunities. I said that from day one. I think that the city of Roanoke is ripe for some phenomenal opportunities, including increasing our housing. One of the first things that I did one of the first positions that I created here was the Housing Programs and Policy Officer position, because I knew we needed a concentrated, concerted effort on housing in the city.
Towards the staffing, the baby boomers, such a large part of our population,
Yeah.
so many veterans, in governance,
Yeah.
and they are at retirement age. Would you say that is one of the reasons why there's, where we aren't staffed to full capacity? Is that a part of it?
There's a multitude of factors. I mean, sure, we absolutely have people that are retiring, but we also are competing with a lot in this market. You have the city of Roanoke, you have Roanoke County, you have City of Salem, you have Town of Benton, you have Botetourt County, Franklin County. So we're all kind of competing for the same pool, and that is just from a local government perspective, but we also have the private sector as well. So, we're all competing for the same pool in this valley, so it can make, that could be part of it. And absolutely, and I've talked about this many times as well, compensation is also a factor.
Oh, very much so, competing with the private industry
Exactly.
So it's from what I've gathered, it's certainly not just Roanoke that is experiencing these difficulties.
Not at all.
It's nothing unique, or that Roanoke is not a good place to work or live. I would argue quite the opposite.
I would argue the same.
Yes, so these shortages in city positions is happening all over.
It is.
Moving forward, what are the any moves towards filling those ranks? It's like what to do. I know you got to operate almost a skeleton crew, perhaps, an exaggeration, or what any kind of moves towards filling out those ranks?
So we're actively recruiting. I mean, if you go on our website, we have a ton of jobs that are available that we're recruiting for. We're also doing a class and compensation study. Hopefully that study will be done sometime next month, and we can make some informed decisions on some of our pay for some of our positions and how we need to move forward with those. So we're looking at it from a holistic point of view. We want to make sure that we are on market with the positions for our employees. That is our goal. But we'd have to turn around and look at it from a compression standpoint. What does that look like internally? And so the goal is to put a plan together to put in front of council to see how we move forward. But I can tell you that we'll probably have to do it in a phased approach because, our finances, and I shouldn't say our finances as much as, all over the revenues are outpacing, the expenditures are outpacing the revenues. And I'm sure you probably know about this because we made it very public, but we hired a consultant to come in to do an assessment on the department, to look at it both internally and externally. So not only did they talk with internal stakeholders, but they also talked with external stakeholders. They looked at our staffing, and they looked at our organizational chart, and the goal is we got a draft report that came out, and that draft report came out, and then we had a table talk exercise. And that table talk exercise was, I think, one of the critical and pivotal points for us as a city government having a planning department. And I say that because we were able to bring in quite a few developers, architects, engineers that have worked with the planning department for some time and have some table talk conversations on how we can collectively make this better, how we can streamline, how we how we're not a department of no as much as we're a department of how can we work through this. To have them at the table with us, because ultimately they're the end user of the product, right?
Right.
And so we want to make sure that they were at the table with us because they have now they have buy-in to what we're doing, and they actually see a light at the end of the tunnel. I was able to bring in an interim department director We're recruiting for a department director for the Department of Planning, Building, and Development. And with her expertise, she has over 40 years of experience. So with her expertise, we've been really looking at our permitting process. So we've made some improvements there, where we were like maybe 5 to 8 weeks past our normal review time, which was huge. We have now taken that down to 1 week.
Yes, that sounds amazing in
Yeah.
difficult times with
Yeah.
the skeleton crew.
Yeah,
perhaps.
we're really excited about the trajectory and where we're going.
So excellent to have that open communication with the builders themselves.
Absolutely. And I was so impressed with the number of builders that said that they wanted buy-in, they wanted to come out, they wanted to participate, and they wanted their voices heard.